Shortly after leaving school today, after having caught an early bus for obvious reasons, and I get on the bus, it's chucking it down my brain.
And
Like,
I'm
completely
walking
flooding.
home.
Yeah, you're walking at this point, picking your brother up from school, is it?
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for the bus. I'm not waiting too long, because the bus comes rather quickly. And I get on the bus, sit down, my friend gets there, he sits next to me. Then, these people that normally get on the bus walk on, and one of them pulls out a bottle of liquid soap out of his bag, which was taken from the school, actually, I believe. And then somebody takes that off of them, opens the lid, and pours it down the lane of the bus. We're on the top floor. He pours it down the lane of the bus, goes to the end, runs, and slides over it straight to the back of the bus, and nearly breaks his leg as he hits the back chair. And then his friend gets up and does the same, and they just repeat this over and over again until one of them, his name is Jimmy, did it, and his knee hit the side of the chair, and he collapsed, clutching his knee onto the back chair. And he just sort of shuffled over to the side as the rest kept doing it. And then a year 8, which is 7th grade, I think,
Yeah.
got off the bus. This is Travis, by the way, and told one of the teachers. The teacher comes on and is, doing the usual, who's done this to the front floor of the bus? We don't own it now. Nobody's leaving. That sort of thing. He was threatening to get us all to leave the bus. Everyone on the bottom floor would get on the other bus, and we would have to walk, or he'd phone up our parents and we'd all have to a lift. So, we were there for literally a full half hour, because nobody came up and nobody snitched on anyone. I knew who had done it. I just sort of sat there because I was finding this absolutely hilarious. Another teacher walked up. This is Mr. Berry. He has a receding hairline. And then the bus driver comes up. He's a really big guy. He's like stood up fully, but he can't because he's that tall. Like, the bus roof is, like, he's a full head taller than the bus. And he just sort of stood there, giggling to himself. The bus driver was giggling to himself that the teacher was telling people off for putting soap on the floor and sliding across it. So the teacher threatens to check the CCTV. And by this point, 3 people have already owned up to doing it.
Okay.
And then another person, who didn't even do anything, owns up for some reason. And our teacher, this is Mr. Francis, by the way, then starts walking down the stairs with the person that didn't do anything in tow. The others have already gone. And at the moment, because I didn't see this, I'm taking this from other accounts. The teacher steps down 2 steps and falls.
Oh, really?
He apparently just slips his footing and just falls backwards. And the guy that was following in tow that didn't do anything, his name was Leon, just sort of put his hand over his mouth and started giggling. And nobody knew why, apart from the people that were at the front of the bus and saw it. They were all giggling, like, quietly. And then somebody said, what happened? And then, like, a squeaky, like, talking through laughing voice from the front just went, he just fell! The entire bus bursts out into laughter. And Mr. Francis comes back up and starts yelling at us, like, completely yelling. And I don't even know what happened after that. I just sort of joined in all the laughter and merriment.
I can imagine.
But I
this
do know
being
at some
pretty
point-
funny.
Yeah, this is bloody hilarious. And then, at some point, we were told to leave the bus. So we just sort of left, very sheepishly. And then as a mob, moved to the nearest public bus stop.
At this point, I actually saw all of you actually walking across. I was like, well, this is a bit late. They obviously haven't missed the bus. Because this is about, what?
This is...
About 5 to 4?
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, it's been about 40 minutes. So they obviously hadn't missed the bus, otherwise they would have gone earlier. And everyone moves at the same point, so I'm like, something's happened.
Yeah.
I spot James, but it's absolutely tipping it down.
Yeah.
So
it's,
it wasn't
it's
worth
even
going over to
more
speak
than
to
it
you.
was before.
And chances are James was going to rob my cookies. Because I had a whole packet of Co-op cookies in my pocket.
Yeah, I'd have robbed him.
Yeah. And they were very nice, James. Brilliant.
Yeah, thanks. I had nothing.
So I just saw him standing there. He didn't notice me. Dripping.
Yeah, I was completely dripping. Like, everyone had already taken the shelter. I was just stood, like, outside, mingling with people, following my friend, who is the only friend I have.
Wait, on the bus.
Yeah. I was waiting for you to reply to that. On the bus, yeah, he's the only friend I have on the bus. And, like, the bus that we were supposed to get on, that was now covered in soap, drives past, and it says, "Sorry, not in service," on the front. And it was my idea. I immediately yelled as soon as I saw it, "Everyone put your hand out and get the bus!" We just all put our hands out on the edge of just like an entire crowd of hands. And the bus driver, as he's driving past, is pissing himself laughing. And he's just waving his hands to say no.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And we're waiting for a really long time. I can't tell you how long exactly. And my friend says, "What's that thing they do in America where they thumb a lift and they say hitchhiking?" And every car that goes past, he's got his thumb out. And people start joining in. And just, it's like everyone from this town is like a mob. We all just follow what a couple people are doing. And all of us are trying to catch a lift. We never got one. A few people eventually got picked up by their parents. And every time this happened, I, and then a few others, always yelled, "Got room for one more?" There's like 30 of us at this bus stop. And eventually it's been so long that Michael and I just decide, with Leon, the guy that eventually got away for not doing anything, walked down to a further bus stop which had a shelter in it that we could actually sit on. And we got there, and the seat was wet. There was 2 people already there, and the bus was still really far off. So I take my bag off, put it on the chair so I can sit down, and Leon and Michael are mingling with the 2 other people. Leon's just sort of stood facing outward to the road, because he's Leon. Leon plus Leon. And occasionally, a few cars would drive past. And it wasn't until later that I realised that one of these was Mr. Francis himself. And he drives straight into the puddle that happens to be at the front, and splashes Leon all over his back.
That's got to be payback for slipping him up.
Yep, that was definitely Mr. Francis. And I get a little bit of my knee, so I'm not too bothered. But we've been standing there talking for like 20 minutes, When I eventually stand up because I'm getting tired of sitting, I turn around and start talking, and as soon as I turn around, it happens again. This time I'm in front, and I get a wave, just a line, like a thin wave of water, and it hits me so hard that it jelly legs me. And my knees, from being hit by a puddle. Oh, Christ.